What's up, gorgeous people? It's Amber. Welcome back to my channel. So we're going to do another bonus video this week, and I'm going to show you how I made this outfit with some fabric scraps and the black sequin skirt. Of course, the black sequin skirt was the focus for this DIY. I've had it in my closet for a while, and I wanted to try to figure out a way to transform it so that I can actually wear it to work, because obviously it was not appropriate for me to wear it to work the way that it was. So I was watching Project Runway, I think it was like last week or maybe the week before, and Nina Garcia had on this gorgeous outfit, and it was like a mix of sequins and like tweed fabric. So I was like, wow, what a great combination. And I was thinking I could totally do that with the fabric scraps that I had left over from this tweed skirt that I had and the black sequin skirt, and maybe make it so I could wear it to work. And I decided to do this weird capelet thing. I'm not even sure if I still like it or not, but you know, I wore it. So I was experimenting with some different silhouettes and stuff on my dress form. So that's where the capelet came in. Maybe you guys will like it, maybe you won't, but I figured I would throw that in the video as well. So without further ado, let's get into how I made this outfit.
Okay guys, materials are in the description box below. We're going to start by working with these two pieces of scrap fabric that were the bottom of a skirt. So I'm just going to go ahead and line the finished hems together and then just work my way up to an unfinished hem so that I can get these two pieces bigger to be able to fit around the sequin skirt. So when I get to the top here, you're going to see that it's uneven at the top. I'm going to go ahead and sew that area together first and then deal with the uneven part. Okay, now I have it all sewn together. Now I'm going to go ahead, take my scissors, and even this out. So just cut across, cutting as straight as I possibly can, making it as even as I possibly can. Now that I have all that done, I'm going to take my sequin skirt, making sure that I have the tag in the back here, because I'm going to start with the back. I want that seam to be in the back part of the skirt. So I'm lining it up as best I can to center it to where that tag was. Then I realized there's a lining. So I determined whether or not I was going to include the lining or not include the lining when I was pinning it. Decided to include it, thought that it would be easier for me to wear that way. So that's how I decided to pin this together. Okay, now that I have it all pinned together, I turn it right side out, make sure it's looking pretty good, and it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and try it on, make sure it's good before I sew it together. So I tried it on. Yeah, didn't like it at all. So now I took it all apart. I have it laying in half on the table here, and I'm just going to cut it to make it a little bit shorter in the back. I liked how the front fit, but I didn't like how the back fit. It was just too long. So I just cut this little piece off here. There we go, making it a little bit smaller in the back, and I think that it's going to work well for me this time. So I'm going to go ahead and pin it back onto the skirt. Try it on first. Make sure it fits the way that I expect it to. Again, before I sew it together. So here it is all pinned together, looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead, try it on, make sure it's good before I sew it together. Now it's all sewn together, looking pretty good so far, whatever. Now here it is, finished, sewn together all the way around. I included sewing in the side parts there, and as you can see, I have a little bit of fraying at the top there. I'm just going to cover it with a button, call it a day. Now we're done with the skirt, so now we're going to move on to this capelet thingamabob. I first put it on the dress form to get an idea of what I think I want to do with this. So this is the silhouette that I think I'm going to go ahead and use, because this is also part of the bottom of that same skirt. It was a huge skirt, so obviously. So I want those buttons to be at the top shoulder area. I'm thinking that looks pretty good, so I'm just gonna roll with it. So I take it off of the dress form, and the first thing that I wanna do is hem that top there, because obviously I don't want it to be fraying like that. So I just roll the fabric over once, roll it over again, stick a pin in it, and this is called a rolled hem, and that's what I'm going to do to the edge of this material. Okay, we're at the end here. This is what it should look like. Now I'm gonna go ahead, run this to the sewing machine and sew it together. Okay, here it is, all sewn together, looking pretty good so far. The next thing that I'm gonna do is join the ends together. So I go ahead, put them together just like I did with the pieces of fabric before, start pinning them together. Lined them up as best I could. So I'm pinning it together here, and then when I get to the end, I realize, oh crap, this also is extremely uneven. So I don't want to cut this apart because I really like the way that this fit me. So my solution for this is to go ahead and just hem that long end and just try to make it work as best I can without having to cut all the material to make it fit like perfect from side to side. I just went with a off-center, I guess you can say, situation. So now that I've done all that, I'm going to throw this back on the dress form and try to figure out how I'm going to make all of this work. So I have a couple more scrap pieces of fabric. I think I'm going to go ahead and add a strap to the side here. I think that will look good, make it stay on better, whatever. So obviously I need 2 pieces of fabric there because that's not going to be long enough. So I'm just kind of getting an idea here of what everything's going to look like before I decide to sew those straps together. So I'm just trying to figure out the silhouette that I'm going to use here, pinning everything onto the dress form, trying to get an idea of how this is going to work. So if you don't have a dress form, you would obviously need to put this on yourself, which would be very difficult to do alone. So you're going to need somebody to add the pins for you. Would probably be the best way to do this if you don't have a dress form. So I'm liking the way that everything looks. I'm going to go ahead and get these straps ready to be put on. There we go. I sewed everything together with the straps, just did a hem on the side. Now I'm sticking it on. Well, I said straps. Well, it's one strap. So we're going to stick the strap on and figure out where it needs to be on this shirt so that I can sew it on. So I play with this for a little while, and you guys will probably do the same thing because you need to make sure that you get this in the right place, because you don't want to sew it down and it's the wrong place and then have to take everything out and do it again. It is such a pain in the butt, and that's just not something I want to do. So I'm trying to make sure that I have this in the right place before I sew it together. So I'm pinning the back down here, just trying to figure out the best way to do this. And obviously things aren't laying right. So now I have to move the other pins around just to make sure everything lays flat and good to my body. As you can see, this is an extremely off-center silhouette. I didn't know if this was going to work or not. I still don't know if it worked or not, but I was trying to do something a lot different with this than doing the normal capelet type situation. I just wanted something different, so that's why I decided to go this route. As you can see, I'm going to have some fabric on top there that is hanging over, and I'm going to have to deal with that at some point. But for now, I'm just trying to get an idea of how these straps are going to work together. So I'll go ahead, sew the straps on, sew that side down, and deal with that extra piece of material after all that's sewn together. Okay, so everything's sewn together. I tried it on and it fits great. So now what I'm going to do first is cut off my excess material. So this is the excess of that little strap that I added. That's the excess material on the one side, and here's excess material on the other side. Just snipping all that material off that I do not need. So on the side here, the side seam where I sewed that together, this is the inside of the shirt, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off that excess material that is on the inside of the shirt. So now I'm turning it right side out. And as you can see, I have excess material on the outside, which is the right side of the shirt. So this I'm going to have to sew down. So I think I'm just going to have to fold it over and sew it down. So I just randomly cut some off, and I cut a little bit too much off. Can you see how it's not laying the way I want it to at the bottom? Yeah, I got a little happy with the scissors there. So I'm going to have to figure out how I can make this work as best I can, because I already took the fabric off. It's so hard to put it back on and make it look decent, so I'm just gonna have to figure out how to roll that over and make it work. And then at the very bottom of the shirt here, I also have an unfinished part that's right there. I'm just gonna go ahead and fold that under and sew it down as well to make everything work and be finished. Hopefully it looks good. We'll see. So here we go. Finished shirt, looking pretty good. Everything's done, so let's try this on.
Okay, there you have it. So it was a little bit of a roller coaster ride, as most of my DIYs are, because I was trying to figure out how I was going to utilize the scrap pieces and the skirt and make some type of top that matched everything. So, you know, everything turned out great, but it was definitely an experimental type DIY. So that's why I decided to make this a bonus video instead of using this video for my regular posting days. Nonetheless, I hope that you got some inspiration from it. If you did, please hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell, like, share, do all those things to help other people find this channel. Thanks so much for taking the time to check this video out, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye! I'm going to do another bonus video this week, and I'm going to show you how I decided to make this, I don't even know what to call it. I'm going to have to do this again. Because it was definitely not anything that I would ever wear to work the way that it was. So I just started brainstorming and thought to myself, you know, when I was watching Project Runway, I didn't say that right. Oh my gosh. Because obviously it was not appropriate to wear it to work the way that it was, but I wanted to try to think of a way that maybe I could transform it and make it so that it was able, I was able. I've had this in my closet for a while, and I just wanted to make it, turn it into something that I could, why can't I talk? Okay, one more time.